Craft shaming is real and it does need to stop. There's a lot of reasons people shop different ways and at different places, and we need to be a lot more sensitive about why they might do that instead of looking at the things that get us fired up and upset us, because everybody's in a different situation. Welcome to another episode of Quick and Uncut, where I address a topic and try to do it as quickly as possible and also with minimal editing. I've noticed a lot of craft shaming. To be honest, I'm not in a lot of other craft niches, but I'm definitely in the yarn niche. And what I have noticed as far as shaming, it can go in a couple different ways. It can be for people shopping at certain stores or certain companies that other people do not approve of. It can be of people using not quality enough yarns, and it can be for people using too high quality of yarns or having too much yarn. Let me address the first issue, which is going to be the shopping at certain stores. And I'm going to use Hobby Lobby as an example. A lot of people don't like their religious affiliation. They don't like their political affiliation, and they don't want to shop there because of that. And I think it's a valid point that if you don't agree with a certain company's way of doing business, that you don't have to shop there. And thankfully, there are alternatives. But by imposing those values on other people and by calling them a bad person or telling them that they support bad people isn't productive at all. It's really not. It's hurtful. It can make a person not want to share stuff that they're proud of, that they're happy about. It can stop them from actually doing their hobby because maybe they feel the same way as you and now they feel too awful to go there and buy that stuff. I have also seen this starting a little bit with like Temu, and I don't want to get too much into that either, but you know, if you're buying stuff on Amazon, like a bunch of random stuff on Amazon, it's a lot of that is coming from the exact same places. So definitely more research into that subject is necessary. But let's talk about why someone might shop at these places. And I think a lot of it has to do with price and accessibility. Not everyone lives in a big city, for sure. And some people do live more rurally. Some people don't have transit. Some people are very limited on where they can get things. Another issue, and this one would be more like the Hobby Lobby aspect of it, as opposed to ordering from online stores as an alternative, is you have to remember, I mean, in this day and age, we are very used to online shopping, but not everyone actually has credit cards. Not everyone actually has access to online shopping. I know that seems strange, but it is actually true. People are going through all sorts of different things financially, and sometimes they're at a point where putting things on credit cards is not an option. So going to a store with cash is the option. The internet does not take cash. And then as far as price goes, I think it is wonderful that we can go to some of these places. My friend Megan at Show and Tell Meg just put out a video on ordering some nice yarns off of Temu. And to be honest, I have never ordered yarns off of Temu because a lot of the hauls I had seen with yarn, the yarn just didn't look that great. I was skeptical about different things, but she showed some like silk and mohair and wool blends and stuff that were really nice. And if you're someone where your yarn budget is not high right at the moment, but you're wanting to get out of acrylics, you're wanting to try some natural fibers, this is a really great way to get into that. I think that we can all benefit from taking a moment, taking a deep breath, and being compassionate and considerate about the person who is purchasing from places that maybe we wouldn't want to shop from. And think about, like, you know what? They probably have a good reason for doing that. And we don't want them to stop their craft, stop the thing that makes them happy, stop the thing that gives them hope, stop the thing that encourages them or gets them through a tough night. Like, we don't want to discourage them from doing this just because the store they shopped at doesn't align with our personal values. I'm going to be really honest here and say that it is a privilege if you have the ability to just shop from stores that align with your political or religious or economic or whatever values. That really is a privilege. Most of the people on my channel and that I have met don't have the ability to strictly shop at like indie dyers and handmade, or, you know, from like even Hobby. I hear a lot of people, or Hobby, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but I hear so many people saying, don't shop at Hobby Lobby, order from Hobby. I've been on there and I gotta be honest, I feel like it's kind of expensive. They've got some neat yarns for sure, but like a lot of times, like the amount you get is pretty small for the money. And that scares me away from ordering from there. So you have to realize, like, that is a privilege to be able to just get yarn wherever you want. Not everyone is in that same position. Now, the other aspect of shaming, which I've seen far too much, and I think if you, do you remember when Crystal at Bag a Day, back when she lived in her old house, she had her yarn room, and then she got so inundated with people making comments and asking for yarn and different stuff that she completely got rid of the whole yarn room. As a reaction to dealing with all that negative criticism and the craft shaming that she had. And that's really sad. I mean, hopefully her yarn stash, while she says it's small, hopefully it is what she wants it to be and it is something enjoyable for her, because I think it is a shame that people bullied her into getting rid of that yarn stash. That's her full-time job. Like, that's how she makes money. She makes a boatload of tutorials. It is perfectly reasonable for her to have an entire room full of yarn. That's just something where if someone is jumping on there and criticizing her for that, they're not really thinking it through. And my friend Carrie Penny at the Happy Crafty Homemaker had a video a couple years back, and I will link that. And it is also about stash shaming. And she goes into it a little bit more about our motivation for having different stashes. And she goes into depth. I'm not going to go into all of that here, but we do all have reasons for having a different size of yarn stash. You might only want the 3 balls of yarn that you need to make your scarf, or you might want 5 shelves of yarn. And your reasons for that are okay. If you're not hurting yourself or your family or anything else financially, that is up to you. There is no one on the internet that needs to tell you, or nor do you need to tell anyone else, what is or isn't wrong with the amount of yarn that they have. And while I have had several videos on my channel talking about why I think it's great to have a yarn stash, if you're uncomfortable with that, I would never expect you to do that. Again, we're all in different places and we all have different needs. So we can't be shaming someone for the amount, whether we think it's high or the amount that if we think it's low, just based on what our experience in life is, because their experience is so different. It's like fingerprints, you know, we're all different. And then the last one I want to talk about is fiber. You know, I'm a person where I have liked to dabble in some nicer fibers, and I would like to start working a little bit more with them. I have gotten some drops yarn because it's kind of an inexpensive way to dabble in nicer yarns, but I also have a lot of Big Twist and Super Saver, and I like working with those for different reasons too. It doesn't just have to be economic. There can be a lot of reasons. I've I've had so many people say that they work with acrylic because they do a lot of donations, they do a lot of gifting, and you want something that's doesn't have strict washing instructions when you do this. People can prefer what they prefer to work with. So it doesn't do any good to be like a quote unquote yarn snob and put down people who use acrylic yarns or something that you would see as like lower quality. And it also doesn't make a lot of sense to put down people who you might feel are spending too much money. We don't want to do that either. Like I said, we're all individuals and we are all in so much different places, and we have not lived a day in that other person's life. So we do not have the right to go in and criticize and make those people feel bad for those choices of what they're making as far as where and what they're buying for their craft. We want people to be happy. We want people to be joyous. We want people to be relaxed, and we want people to flourish. And they need what is best for them to do that. I have been very, very fortunate that the people viewing my videos have, for the most part, been very, very kind. So I don't have much to complain about, but I have seen it on other people, and it's just important to me that as life gets tougher and the economy gets tougher and just interacting with people has seemingly become tougher as well, that we are kind to each other and we keep this space wonderful and joyous. Thank you for taking the time to talk yarn with me today. Bye.